Hello, my name is Ted Lederer, and you're watching another episode of It's All About Art. And today we're in conversation with painter Jane Adams. We're at her studio in West Vancouver. Jane, thank you for inviting us up to the studio.
You're welcome, Ted.
Yeah, it's
my
a pleasure.
pleasure. Yeah.
Now, it's been some time since we've had an opportunity to chat like this. The last
2 years. Yeah.
Is it 2 years ago that you did your last solo exhibition?
Yeah.
And you have another solo exhibition coming up February 10th to 28th.
I do.
It's called Floral Cuts. It maybe doesn't need to be said, but tell us why it's called Floral Cuts.
Because they're cut. They're actually cut. Every image in the show is cut into like a very heavy rubber material. It's carved out and then printed and then embedded right into the canvas.
All right, so the works that we see around us,
Yes.
and the works that will be shown in the course of our conversation are monotypes, a
Yes.
type of monotype.
Yes.
And it's interesting because you said they're carved into rubber.
Yes.
Now, that's not a typical printing medium, is it?
It's what's made available for artists who do. Can I show you a piece?
Yeah,
of
let's go take a look at what you've got here.
For artists who are involved with doing, I guess you could say, originally woodcuts, and now they're doing. You can do it with like a heavier linoleum, but I find that with the larger pieces, it's just too difficult to spread. To carve into a huge amount of linoleum.
What are you
this
using
is
to carve?
This is a very just small wood cutting tools.
Okay.
But this is very flexible and very easy to carve, and you can put many of them together.
Yes.
And you can add on, and then once you've made your print, then you can correct your mistakes or where the joins take place between the different pieces of material.
Is this a technique that you see a lot of artists moving towards?
I've never seen it before. I was inspired by some woodcuts I saw in Germany when I was there last summer. A wonderful gallery. It used to be a train station called the Hamburger Bahnhof Gallery.
Okay. Yeah.
And I haven't been able to find the name of the artist, and I didn't write it down. But he did a huge wall, and it was like a BC forest. And implanted into the forest were a portraiture of famous people in history. And they were about this, well, they were actually about this size, each one. But the wall was 10 feet by 15 feet. It was incredible. And I thought, I used to carve. This was sort of the seed for getting back to doing this type of carving. So I came home and I just began carving. And this is the...
And this is the result.
The result, yeah.
Lovely. And I like the fact that it's such a manageable size.
It is, yeah.
And of course then you can use, although each piece is really a one of one,
well,
you can reuse images, or not maybe reuse, but in different contexts, in different pieces.
So each piece is completely original. I may use the same image 3 times, maybe 4 at the most, in a completely different painting.
So what are you doing? You're assembling your rubber reliefs essentially.
Yeah.
And you're then inking them, or what are you doing there?
Okay, for the large piece on the invitation, it took about 8 of these, no more, 10. So what I did was I mounted them onto a movable desk like this, so that I could turn it and carve it all at once, because they had to be laid side by side. Okay. And then when I printed it, I had to print it in 2 sheets of paper.
Yes.
So I had a join in the center, plus I had a join of all the different sections.
Yes.
So actually it was a miracle that I pulled 2 of them off without making too many mistakes. They're perfectly brought together at the end and repainted where the joins are, so you could never see them. They disappeared.
And so they're getting printed onto paper.
Yes.
This is this an example of paper?
Yes, that's an example of the paper. Here's a print. Here's a print that I'm going to show you how I mount in a very, very small.
Okay. So that's the print, and
there's the print.
And actually,
and there's the finished product.
Right. So it's being mounted onto the.
This is onto a
board.
A wooden board. Yeah.
And you're using some kind of medium. What's the medium that you use to attach this to?
It's a very heavy acrylic gel that completely dries flat.
Yes.
And then once it's dry, I put another plastic glaze over the top. So really they are a kind of plastic medium.
Huh.
A printed plastic medium.
Printed plastic.
I don't know. Does that sound all right?
Like my credit cards.
Yeah.
And look at the lovely fluorescent quality to these.
Yeah.
And how do you attain that that fluorescent quality.
Well, I'm using fluorescent paint, dear.
But you're using fluorescent paint.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, something that I only learned very recently was I didn't realize that there was fluorescent acrylic paint.
There is, yeah. Acrylics have been around, 60 years now. Long, long time, and they're very successful, and they're very durable, and they're in a way better than oil paint because they don't crack.
Yes.
And I don't know how long the actual neon colors have been out. They're very few. They're about 5 you can choose from. But they just give that little touch here and there in my recent work that it gives a bit of a
Yeah, they do.
boost.
They
I
do.
love it.
Now I'm going to just switch positions here, Jane, but I want to ask you, because one of the things that you mentioned in the conversation was about working the piece after you've got it on the board.
That's what I do. You see, in this case, the images have been put on onto a half-finished canvas. All the background hues were here, and the white pull-through was here. But then I went to work with little detailing, a little bit of gold leaf, and my very old punctuations that I've always used, my little squares I put on later.
It is interesting because this doesn't need to be signed. The viewer will see this and say that's a Jane Addams piece.
Absolutely,
How
for
long,
sure.
How long have you used that?
Since I was about 11 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
So Jane, I notice along with the florals, you incorporate these charming little insects, obviously out of your garden.
Yes.
Can we just talk about that for just a little bit?
Yes. Some of them were to do with ponds,
Okay.
And so I have the water lilies, and of course what goes with water lilies? A dragonfly.
Dragonflies.
And what goes under the water lily? The frog.
Yes.
In this one, I have mounted some different little images of bees and bugs, which I've put on distressed gold leaf, which I've distressed, and they've kind of embedded
Well,
them
and
in
you've
there.
gotten fairly ornate with your
Yeah,
carving in there,
yeah.
haven't you?
I enjoy doing that. It's wonderful.
Oh, and they're lovely.
Yeah.
Did you find as you went along that your carving skills got more and more refined?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it had been a while, I
Yeah,
guess.
It had been a while.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Florals also.
Yeah.
Florals are a theme that you revisit
Yeah.
a lot through your career.
Yeah.
Why? I'm curious. What is it about florals for you?
Probably because I've always lived in a beautiful place. I've been very blessed growing up in Vancouver, where, of course, florals and our beautiful scenery is very much part of our lives, and it's just part of my soul, I guess.
Ah.
I don't know about tragedies in life, and I don't think I can paint about that because I haven't felt it in my heart, but I
Right.
have felt the beauty of this part of the world we live in, so I try and paint that.
Oh, how elegant.
Images from where I am in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
How very, very
and I think
elegant.
probably if I had it the other way, I would be painting other things.
Right. Right. Jane, thank you for having us at the studio.
You're very welcome, Ted. I enjoyed it too.
It's been a real pleasure.
Good.
My name is Ted Lederer, and you've been watching another episode of It's About Art. We've been in conversation with painter Jane Addams, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.